This is Death or Prison, brought to you by leanonmeusa.org. We bring you stories of hope and encouragement.
Hello, everyone. This is the Death or Prison podcast, brought to you by leanonmeusa.org. My name is Raul Lopez.
And I'm Elmo, Big Mo Golden.
And this is part two of a first segment that we did with our distinguished guest, Mr. Corey Chambers. Welcome back, Corey.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay. We have a lot of people watching from institutions, from the free world, and I think your story is very interesting to share how after doing a lot of time in prison, and we'll get into that, here you are a productive member of society, and you've been out now since 2023?
Yes, sir. 2023, since May 22nd, 2023.
And you're doing a lot of positive things, but we'll talk about that. But let's go back where we left off in the first segment, that you went before the judge, you had home invasions, armed robberies, and the judge sentenced you to what? Tell us some details about that.
The judge sentenced me to 3 death sentences. And the reason I say death sentences is because in Florida, life is life now. They abolished the parole in 94. I caught my charge in 96. So if you come to prison after 94, life is life. And I was sentenced to 3 natural life sentences with a mandatory 45. So basically, I was sentenced to die in prison. And I was sentenced to do 45 years before I died in prison.
Yeah, I always said with 2 or 3 life sentences, you could die, come back, and you still be in prison after being resurrected. So,
Corey, I'm interested in you standing before the judge. Was your family members in court at that time?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, my family members in court, my grandmother, my mother, my grandfather, my aunts, I don't think now one of my uncles was there because, I had told you how they ripped and ran the streets and what they was in. You know what I'm saying? So I doubt if they was in a courtroom. But I do remember my grandfather, my grandmother, and my mother.
Right.
I remember them in court. Yeah.
What do you think was going on in their mind when they hear it says Corey Chambers, 3 natural life sentence plus 45? Now remember now, this is the lady that loved you dearly.
I know. It was like it was pretty much like a hard iron sitting on her chest. It hurt her.
You had a chance to look at her?
To be honest with you, when I caught all that time, I'm gonna be honest with you straight up. When they sentenced me to 3 natural life sentences, and after I realized when I took my mother through, I couldn't even look at her when they gave me that time. I couldn't even look at her because I knew she was crying. I knew it had finally broke her down. After all these years, my mother, to me, was the strongest woman in the world, the strongest person in the world. I never seen her fold. I never seen her cry. I never seen her break, no matter what I went through. But I knew that day there, when her only child was sentenced to 3 natural life sentences with a mandatory 45, I knew that was going to be the day that I see that she's human. That was going to be the day that I see her break down, and I didn't want to see it. I couldn't even look at her. I dropped my head and walked through them doors back to the cell.
You know, Corey, I can relate. It takes me back that I felt guilty for a lot of the things I did, but I always said that it hurt me so much to hurt her and to hurt my family.
Exactly.
And like you said, we just don't go through the time. We're all doing the time together.
Right.
Yes. And you know what, Mr. Elmore? We don't realize that in prison, that we not just doing the time, but those that love us are doing it also. Those that love us are doing it also. We don't see that because they don't show us. Because they feel like they got to be the ones
to
with
be
the
strong.
Strength, to be strong, to show that, okay, you got this. Don't worry about it. And they constantly tell us after every phone call, after every visit, oh, you got this, you getting out. They tell us this, not knowing if we're gonna ever get out. But that's what they tell us after every visit, after every phone call. After every visit, after every phone call, you know you done time, Mr. Elmore. You done time big Mo. So you know, after every visit, after every phone call, it's the same words. I love you. You will be home soon. That's what they tell us to keep us strong. That's the most important thing to the ones that love us, to try to keep us strong.
And like you said, as we mature and we get older and we continue this walk with God, we realize how far we went and how much we hurt them. So they sentenced you to the 3 life sentences. What was that like? Walk us through when they got you on the Bluebird. What camp did you go to?
Man, listen. Like I said, the 3 natural life sentences. I'm gonna tell you. You know, I know y'all might edit this out. But you know what I said? I said, man, these MFs crazy. I say, these MFs crazy. If they think I'm finna die in prison, right then and there when I got the strength my mama had, right then and there when I realized that, man, listen, these people is trying to kill you in prison. Because I already knew what 3 life sentences was. I already knew. I had to hear from the old schools, the old heads and everything, that life is life now and all that. So when they gave me that, I said, man, these MFs crazy. They finna keep me in here for the rest of my life. I said, I'm finna get up this road and I'm finna fight. And that's just what I did. I got at my first sentence. My first camp I went to at GovCI, when I got off that bus, I even went to confinement. I even went to confinement about the law library. I went to confinement about the law library. And I refused to die in prison.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because you weren't referring to fight and violence. You were saying, fight my case, get out of here. I'm not going to die in prison.
Exactly.
I'm
not going to die in prison.
I wanted to touch on that because, Elmo, you know there are people that give up.
Oh, yeah.
And they just accept it, and prison can either make you or break you. And there's a lot of dudes that'll die in there, but you made up your mind from the get-go, I'm not staying in here. Now, we can't do that on our strength. If it wasn't for God, we'd never be out, myself included. But we need that frame of mind. We need that mindset where we have to do something. We have to get out of here.
Man, it's 2 different strengths. It's 2 different strengths. When you got the strength that you were born with, the strength that you worked out to get, the strength that you trained about, whatever, and you got God's strength, it's different.
There you go.
It's different. And I prayed and I went asking for God's strength. I ain't want that other strength. I ain't want that rec yard strength. I ain't want that gym strength. I ain't want that strength off the shank doing back arms. I ain't want that strength. I wanted God's strength. I wanted that strength there. And that's what I prayed and asked for when I quit all that time. Even though I wasn't doing the thing I was supposed to do, even though I was still living in a world, I was still doing illegal activities. But that one thing I asked God to do, Lord, give me strength to not give up. That's one thing I didn't want to do, is give up and accept these 3 natural life sentences. Regardless, whatever else, God, just give me the strength. Listen, I was asking for more strength. I was asking for forgiveness. I'm for real. When I said my prayers, I was asking God for, listen, sometimes I just say a prayer just for strength. I wasn't even asking for prayers for forgiveness or protection. I was asking God, give me strength. Give me strength to do this. That's what you need. You need that strength. You need that spiritual strength. Because without that spiritual strength, you weak. And when you become weak, the devil got you. When you become weak, the devil is your pimp. When you become weak. So that's all I asked for. I wasn't asking for God I asked for forgiveness, but that was like on the back end of the prayer. But my prayer was open. Listen, every prayer I prayed, when I open up, Lord, give me strength. Because I know that's what I need.
Yeah, that spiritual strength is definitely a must if we really want to do what God wants us to do after all the experiences we go through. You were at Gulf, then how long were you at Gulf?
I got the gun for 98, and I wound up getting transferred in 2021 for disciplinary reactions.
Wow, so you did all your time. You
That's
did a lot
13
of
years.
time in Gulf.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, from 98 to 2001. That's not a lot of
2001.
time.
Oh,
3
no.
years.
Yeah.
I thought you said 2021. Okay,
Let me ask.
Oh,
2001. Okay.
no. I was not gonna stay up there. I wasn't gonna stand there panhandle for all that
Yeah,
time.
Yeah.
No.
Hey,
Absolutely
it's no
not.
coincidence. That was my first camp after doing 5 years in county jail. But anyway,
Yeah.
was Gulf.
So Corey, let me ask you a question. So, all right, you beating up the law library, right? And
Tearing it down.
along with trying to live in the environment, the institutional environment, right? You're in prison. What other regiment did you have? I mean, did you pursue education? Were you trying to practice? You know, with me, if a guy has a life sentence, he's the first one should be, and he's fighting for his case, he's the first one should be practicing reentry. You know, yeah. Were you going to the chapel? Was there any religious services that you were going to?
Let me tell you something. Be honest with you,
Yeah.
Big Elmo.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't nothing on my mind but that law library. I wasn't thinking about no classes, no reentry. I wasn't thinking about no chapel services. I wasn't thinking about none of that. I felt like that once I got up in the morning and said my prayer to God to give me strength, that was enough for him to just give me strength that he know that I wanted to get out. So my focus was on that law library. That's all. I still was doing my little 1-2, dibbing and dabbing, this and that, but I was praying for strength.
Yeah.
The strength. Listen, the prayer that I was praying for was strength is for me not to give up and accept that I had 3 natural life sentences. And I know if God granted me that prayer, everything else was gonna come in place.
How did you find relief? I mean, I know through the courts. How did you find relief?
Okay.
Yeah.
The first life sentence I gave back was at Gulf in 2001. I got the Gulf in 98. On January the 4th in 2000, the day of my birthday, January the 4th, I went back to outside court. That was the first motion I put in. They granted it and gave me 80 months, 5 years. That was one life sentence took it on. And I felt, and when that happened, when they called me for legal mail, and I went down there and got my legal mail and seen where they had to overturn that first life sentence for 80 months, oh, you couldn't tell me nothing. I wasn't thinking about all the time I got the slap on the wrist. Oh, I got them. I wasn't thinking about way back in when I was 9 years old when I got a slap on the wrist. Oh, I know I'm not gonna die in prison. I got that hope that I wasn't gonna die in prison. And that motivated me all the way through these 27 years to keep praying for strength, keep praying for strength, keep praying for strength. Because I say, okay, I'm praying for strength. God, give me strength not to give up. God, give me strength to keep fighting. God, give me strength to believe that I know He hearing my prayer. Because I seen so many dudes at that camp giving up, that gave up with one life sentence, that I gave up. So that was my most important prayer, praying for strength. Praying for strength. Because if you got that spiritual strength, man, you can outlive the biggest dude on the wreck, yo. You can outlive that spiritual strength. That's the most important thing because everything comes behind that. Behind that physical strength, you got faith, you got hope, you got love, you got belief, you got hope behind that spiritual strength. So to me, that was the most important thing to me, praying for strength.
Right.
I didn't want to get weak because they say the devil take advantage of the weak. So I didn't want to fall. I didn't want to fall weak. I didn't want to fall I didn't want to accept all this time. I didn't want to believe I had all this time. So that was my prayer, praying for strength, and God granted me that. He granted me that strength.
Corey, so you get another document, and it says that prepare to go home. Tell me, how does that look?
Which one? When I gave back the first life sentence?
No, once everything was overturned.
Oh, everything was okay. The first life sentence was 2000. The second life sentence is 2010. Now, that's when I found, that's when I started believing that, listen, there's a God. That's when that God started talking to me when I became older and more mature, because I gave back the first one in 2000, the second one in 2010. Now, just imagine that next one was in 2013. So how many years that is? From 10 to 13.
3 years.
It took forever. Yeah. No, from 2010, 2023, my bad. From 2010, 2023.
13 years.
How many years that is?
13 years.
Yeah.
That's when it took effect on me. Because I gave back the first, I fell in 96. So it's 2000, I gave back the first one, that's 4 years. 2010, what that is? That's nothing but what, 10 years. From 2010 to 2010, that's 10 years. Now that last one, it took forever. So I stopped praying for strength and I started praying for forgiveness. I started praying for mercy. I started praying for favor. I stopped praying for strength then because I already had it. I started praying for other things that God would give me that I needed, because it's like it took forever. The first two I gave back so quick, I had to start praying, and that's when God started talking to me. I became older, I became mature, and I started realizing, like, man, this God, He's moving in my life. And I kept saying, I kept remembering the first day I got sentenced, like, man, these people is crazy. I'm not gonna die in prison. My mama only child is not gonna die in prison. So I gave back the first one and the second one, and I knew it was a God.
Now,
And
Corre,
I knew God had other plans.
I was going to ask you, was there a particular incident or a moment or something that happened? I'm going to tell you where I'm coming from. I'm sitting in the county jail and I saw that I would never see the streets again, according to what man said. And my daughter was 12 years old, and I said, I'll never be able to take my daughter for ice cream or maybe go to the park. And that's when I reached out and I said, if you're really up there, Jesus, are you real? And that's when everything started changing. Was there something similar or something that happened where you realized, because you said I was older, I was more mature, but was there something, a scripture, some incident, something that happened?
Yes, let me tell you something. I ain't asked God, was He up there? I ain't asked God, was He real? I ain't asked God none of that. I got up one morning for breakfast like I always do. Got morning for breakfast, brushed my teeth, washed my face, got dressed. And when they call, you know what they call child.
Child.
Coffee cake?
When they called, no, it wasn't coffee cake that day. It was, I can't remember what it was, but it was a day that I got up to go. When they opened that door to go, and everybody went out that front door, I went to my cell. And they say, hey, man, you coming? You want me to hold the door? I say, close it. Man, God had talked to me that day there. I went in my room and I cried like a baby. I said, Lord, I can't do this anymore. I say, I need more than just your strength. I said, I need mercy. I need grace. I need forgiveness. I said, Lord, I need freedom. I said, Lord, I can't keep doing this. I cried. I cried in that cell. I cried in that cell, man, until they came back from child.
You know, Corey, the way we're raised is that tears, that's weakness for a man. But in reality, when you get real with God and you cry, that's where your strength comes from, because that's when He hears. That's when He hears. Yes, sir.
That's
Amen.
when He hears. And I felt like that was just not just the strength, because I had the strength so long since 96 that when I fell, I asked God for the strength. So I know the strength was there, because not one time I ever accepted I was going to die in prison. I always said, I never used the word if I get out. I always use the word when I get out, I'm going to do this. When I get out, I'm going to do this. When I get out, I'm going to do this. I always said when. So I know the strength was there. God always, listen, I told you, that was my only prayer. In the morning time, every time, God, give me strength. I ain't care about forgiveness. I ain't care about faith. I always had God for strength. So I know the strength was there.
But this time you
left,
started asking for forgiveness and mercy.
man,
Why
I started asking
why
for
does the
I
prayer
started asking
change?
for I started asking for all what it was, 9 fruits. I asked for every last one. I asked for all 9 fruits. Forgiveness, strength, prayer, love. I asked for everything that morning up. Every doggone thing I asked for. Because I knew that day right then and there that it was more than just about strength. And that's when I knew that God, that's when I knew that God was his spirit, his love, his forgiveness, his favor was within me.
And you know what? We're running
And
out
that
of time, Corey, and I want to get to the point because you're doing a lot of positive things now since you've been out. You've written a book. There's a nonprofit organization. Tell us about that. First of all, when did you get out?
I got out in May 22nd, 2023.
And
I
you
wrote a
ended up
book called
hold up a second, because for the audience that's watching, after all this, you ended up doing 27 years.
7 years.
27 years.
Yes.
And then you get out and you were talking about the book. Tell us about that.
When I got out, it was boots on the ground. I got out, I wrote a book called Life After Life. I got a nonprofit called Clothing with Care. I clothe inmates upon a release.
Okay.
Females and males. It's called Clothing with Care. I put them in outfits. All they gotta do is send their sizes. I put them in outfits for their release. I done wrote a book called Life After Life. I'm working that. Man, I tell you, man, God is so good right now. Listen, I tell you something, man, that God loved those that he released from prison. He loved those that's in
Talk
prison.
about it.
But
That's
the ones
right.
the ones he released in prison, man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. He spoil you.
See,
God is gonna spoil those that he released.
You know, you talking and things are jumping inside of me, positive things that, and I have to say this, I've seen it in Elmo. There is a purpose, there is a destiny that God has ordered. We have all kinds of plans, but the Bible says that the feet of men are ordered by God. So you got out. Let me ask you something. If they would have asked you 20, 30 years ago that you'd write a book, maybe most people wouldn't believe it, but yet you did. What was going through your mind that you ended up writing Life After Life? And the title explains a lot, but what was going through your mind and what got you to write a book? Audience that's listening, we're talking about a man that did 27 years, armed robberies, home invasions, but yet here he is writing a book and helping others. His nonprofit organization, helping people that get out of prison. He gets them outfits, clothes to help them transition back into society. But tell us about that book and what was going through your mind and how did that come about?
Man, I had to let the people know what God has done. It was a must. And the only way I can do it is through the book. You know, I went to different churches and gave testimonies, but I said, if I write this book, I'm letting people know what God has done for me, man. God has, man, listen, and the book is Life After Life. It's Lyfe. Lyfe. That's the life. After Life. That's the name of it. Life After Life. And I'm letting you know, man, what God has done for me, how he transitioned me, as he has blessed me with the things he has done for me. Man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. God will spoil those that he released out of prison. Those that's in prison, he gonna love you, he gonna give you strength, he gonna protect you, he gonna watch over you. But once he gets you out, God is gonna spoil you. He gonna spoil you. You continue to seek, believe, and trust in God. Once he gets you home, man, he is gonna spoil you. I haven't had a road bump since I've been home. I haven't acknowledged a road bump since I've been home. If it was a road bump, I ain't acknowledge it because I'm free. It's nothing to complain about.
That's right.
If you were sentenced to 3 natural life sentences, how you gonna tell somebody, yeah, it's a few road bumps, it's a few hills I got to cross. How? All the roadblocks and hills was in prison. You out now. It's no complaining.
That's right.
It's no whining.
That's right.
You is free. God has blessed you. You is free, man. It's nothing I complain, cry, whine about, man. Nothing.
Corey, if you had about 30 seconds to tell a guy that has experienced those 3 life sentences or 2 life sentences or even that one, that may be on the verge of giving up, because I see those guys. I visit quite a few prisons, and half of my classes are lifers, and you can literally see the light going dim inside of their eyes. If you had 30 seconds to say something to them about your journey and about how they should pursue the endeavors of being free, what would you say to them?
I say, brother, I say, sister, God has the last say so. Regardless what man say, regardless what the world say, God has the last say so. He is the creator. Trust and believe in him and his word, and you will overcome what you're going through.
Corey, we thank you for your testimony, and also we want to encourage you, man, that continue on the good fight that you're on now. And remember that this podcast will be something that other guys will be able to see, and they'll be inspired by it. But my heart desire is to make sure that your mama see it, and that she understands that she didn't make a mistake, she didn't fail, and she's putting out a man now that's actually a contribution to the society. And I would love to partner up with you, man, and do some of the work that you're doing. I'm inspired. I'm inspired by you, and every now and then, regardless of how long we've been out, it's still good to hear those stories.
You took the words right out of my mouth. You was a blessing to me today, Corey. So we're going to end now. This has been the Death or Prison podcast. I'm Raul Lopez.
And I'm Elmo Big Mo Golden.
And we had the privilege and the honor to be speaking to Corey Chambers today. We thank you for your story. Like the Bible says in Deuteronomy 30:19, when Moses tells the people of Israel, you can choose either death or life. I put before you death or life, but I tell you to choose life. We say this is the Death or Prison podcast, but we all say around here, choose life.
Choose life.
No more tears, now we cheer, blessings flowing like a river. Choose life. That's the Father's call through our stories. Oh.